Hello, and who are
Hello,
you?
I'm Katie Mahan.
Katie Mahan, it's nice to see you again.
Nice
Where
to
are
meet you.
you at the moment?
I am currently in Salzburg and have been here for quite some time now.
Yes, and for quite some time I just looked up, it's about half a year ago we talked, the first conversation here, and a lot has happened in the meantime. So how have you been? How are you?
Well, I'm doing good, staying busy doing different kinds of projects than I would be doing in a normal concert year. And it's amazing how busy you can actually be doing other kinds of projects. So it's definitely kept me active and not thinking about not sitting at home and just thinking, what should I be doing now?
That's great. So you had, as you're a very creative person, I mean, you've done these wonderful films also in the meantime to help us out. Thank you again. So what have you been doing actually? What are the projects you've been involved in?
Well, mainly I've created an online platform for concerts, and the idea behind it is really to it asks the question: is the formality of classical music a detriment to it, or is it an enhancement of it? And so I created a series which is called Just to Play, and basically the idea behind this is to create virtual concerts which bring people into this whole true atmosphere of classical music, which is beautiful music, beautiful venues, beautiful dresses, because I think this is part of what classical music is. You know, when you imagine where Mozart was playing, he wasn't playing in a hall that was he wasn't playing in his garage. Music at this time was in
Yeah.
exquisite concert halls, and this is in a way an integral part of his music. And I think it's interesting, to go with modern eyes and look back at this this idea of these grand halls of Europe and perform the music in there and still dress up, because I think, to my mind, this formality is really part of classical music. And of course the music is great without it, and you can enjoy this music anywhere with your eyes closed, on the beach, in your car. It doesn't matter. But there is also something very special about a true classical music performance. And so that's how that's my concept, what I put together on this Just to Play virtual series.
I remember that all I've seen with you is beautiful dresses and beautiful locations. So it's something you sort of start to own, these kind of occasions where people sit there and look at you and look at the hall and they say, wow, you get these, isn't that beautiful? These effects, yeah, which is a very clear positioning, Now you cannot take the people into these halls. Now you are taking the hall to the people. What have you been doing? How does it work?
Actually, I found that people have had really a lot of fun, actually. Obviously, it's a learning process, understanding how to bring virtual music to people, because the basic point of gathering for a concert is gone. I mean, physically, you can't gather. And so how do you recreate this concept of togetherness when when everybody is in a different house? And, so I think for what I've discovered is that the secret to it is really, after the concert or even before the concert, to really make it interactive, where everybody says hi, and you can ask questions, you can talk, you can greet the performer, you can greet each other, and then you have truly the feeling, even though you have only people's faces on your screen, you can see that they're moving, they're living, they're active, mm-hmm. And you really feel it really becomes a lot of fun. And so that has been my discovery. And, the last event that I did in November, I got a lot of emails afterwards, and they said, this is the most fun we've had in ages. And so, I think virtual music can be fun. It's just, you have to work with the options, what we have right now, and find the best solution to really bring people together.
Yes, and it's definitely a lot of learning. I have had one guest calling me. He was completely despaired because he wanted to, log in and had some. The question was, what is DDMMJJ? Yeah. So it was more than obvious that he had never ever in his life bought anything and paid for it with his credit card. And it might be very exciting, and also it's a lot of stress if you do this for the first time. But when you went over, it's a little bit like funny story. My brother was very little, and the telephone rang, and you've probably never seen them. I've never seen them. I only know the story. But the telephone were at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it rang, and my great grandmother was supposed to have said, no, don't touch that, for heaven's sake. It was like from the devil. And so I think there are learning. I mean, nowadays, we wouldn't have big problems with phones. So I think it is a learning process also. So
it is, and I also think it comes down to, it's a difference in people. Some people want to learn, and some people don't want to learn, And I mean, for instance, it's some of the events I've done. I've had people as old as 85 there, and some of them are just totally on the ball, and they have, know exactly how Zoom works, and they know exactly where you log in, and then you have 40-year-olds who are still trying to figure out, how you download it, how you set up, set up a user name or whatever, and so it completely depends on you as a person.
Absolutely, and also on the offer side, my experience from marketing times was always test it, and you think, okay, let's take this link, and then it works, and it doesn't work because this one time you copied the link, it forgot a letter or whatever in the end. So it's just what I'm saying is, this is a new world. We don't know how long this will last. Maybe it will last longer than we wish. Maybe it gives lots of new opportunities, but it needs some, getting used to it. Yeah, exactly. So what is your next program then?
So my next program is Beethoven, because obviously this is our big Beethoven year, and poor Beethoven he did not get his just desserts in this year. So anyway, I want to do my own little celebration of Beethoven, and I'm recording a beautiful concert from the Palais Lobkowitz in Vienna. I searched out a venue that has a historical connection to Beethoven, because that was my goal. And in this Palais, Beethoven premiered many works. Officially, he premiered the Eroica Symphony and the first piano concerto, and he also did first performances of many other works, but there's always a difference between whether it was for a paid audience or a not paid audience, of course. And so therefore, officially it's the Eroica Hall, because he did, for a paid audience, premiere the Eroica Symphony there. Count Lobkowitz was a patron of Beethoven for basically his entire life from the time he came to Vienna, and Beethoven was often in this palais just as a guest of Count Lobkowitz. And so as a thank you, Beethoven dedicated his third, fifth, and sixth symphonies to the Count, as well as other works. So I'm really excited to be able to play this Beethoven program in such a beautiful historic hall.
And
So
will you do
exciting.
another of your inzwischen, in the meantime, really fabulous, famous films, like the one you did introducing Mozart to Salzburg? Will you do another of these wonderful films about
I'm
Beethoven?
planning to do it, yes.
Good.
There's always, I mean, we're still on a lockdown, but the plan is to do this next week. So if everything goes as planned, then
Yes.
I will do my city tour of
Great.
Vienna.
Looking
Obviously, it won't be as comprehensive as Salzburg, because Salzburg is a much smaller town, but I've chosen locations which are have a special significance and a connection to Beethoven. And so, God willing, with the lockdown and everything, I will film that.
Yes,
also.
I'm really looking forward to that, because I think this is exquisite work. So, you tell us things that we want to know, we think we should know, but we never sort of took the book or read the signs or whatever, and you do it in such a charming way, and I'm really looking forward to it. You also said something about 2 sonata we can look forward to. Are they kept secret, or will you tell us now?
No, the program is, I'm starting with the Bagatelles, Opus 126, because on this program I would like to show pieces from each part of his life, so early, middle, and late. And I'm starting with the Bagatelles. I chose those for simply because I released a CD earlier this year, and I also included the Bagatelles, and so they're not as often played as other works, and I think they're absolute little gems. And so I'm starting with them, and then I go to the beautiful Waldstein Sonata. And then in the second half, I'm going to do the 2 sonatas, Opus 27. The Opus 27 number 1 is not as often played. It's somewhat unjustly neglected, and probably that's because its partner in the opus is the Moonlight Sonata. And I've actually never played the Moonlight Sonata in my life, and I learned it, during this Corona crisis, because I thought, this is a piece I've always wanted to play. I've taught it 5,000 times to students, but I've never played it myself, and so this is one of my Corona repertoire editions, and I'm excited to perform it. And then I'm ending the concert with the Ode to Joy, the Liszt arrangement.
What we wanted to hear played by you this year in all the concert halls of Weltklassik, and well, that was a problem.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to very much. Waldstein is one of my favorite. It's also a very late discovery that it's probably very easy to play as it is in C major. That impression didn't last for a long time.
Right.
Right. And Mondschein Sonate, I would be interested to hear if someone as capable as you, if learned late in I mean, compared to these 6 to 10-year-old, if you learn it late, will this make a difference? Would it be different than what we hear?
Well, I think every musician,
Yeah.
you change your interpretation over the course of your life, and the way. I mean, I have a lot of pieces that I've played since childhood, and the interpretation is really from black to white different now versus then. Your emotions change, your understanding changes, your intellectual understanding, your emotional understanding. It changes, and what you think was right, when you were 12, it could have been. There's not to say it wasn't right, but your approach to it will change.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. Looking forward. You mentioned an expression, I'm not quite sure whether I understood correctly, when you said Beethoven and paid audience.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there was a difference between whether you, when composers premiered a piece, normally it was for an official premiere was for a paid audience. People had to buy tickets, or they had to pay money in order to attend the performance. And there was other kinds of performances which, maybe it was more like an open rehearsal or something. It was not an official paid event.
Okay, I'm just wondering about the expression, because paid audience for me would sound like, you pay the audience to be there. So it's not. It's what it actually means is the audience paid this concert fee and entry fee or price.
Whatever respect that was at the time. I mean, however they were officially invited. It was the expression in English. It was for a paid audience. So they were not allowed to just come in without letting people know, or whatever.
Right. So what do you say about the question of paid audience today, and about your new way you are going into digital concert streaming events? What have we learned?
In my view, it's whether you're playing in front of a camera, where people are hearing you, regardless of whether they're sitting there in person, you are still playing for them. So if you're playing for them via a camera, or whether you're playing for them directly to their ears, the process is really not different. And so if you want to attend a concert as an audience member, then it should be the same. I mean, even if it feels different, this is our modern world. And let's face it, we have, whether you like it, technology or not, it is a great gift, because it gives us the opportunity to be able to share music and to be able to experience music. And if you have a musician playing for you, recording a concert for you, or playing directly in front of you, for the musician, there is no difference. You are sitting there playing. And therefore, you can ask the question, would it be okay if I saw a concert was taking place and I just went in without, buying an entrance ticket, or, and I just went in and sat in the concert hall? Is that okay if it's normally a paid event? I mean, no, generally speaking, in normal life, in normal life as in real live concerts, of course, this is a no-go. This is not allowed. It is a proper event. You buy a ticket and you are then allowed to go. So my question is, why should it be different for a virtual event?
Okay, so what you're saying is, you are a pianist, you prepare for a concert. If you prepare for a concert, it's the same preparation, the same expertise, the same year-long devotion, the same, how do you say, Verzicht? I don't know how to say that, to sort of regular life, you sort of spend a lot of time in practicing. So you say this is completely the same, whether I go to a stage and then there are guests there, or whether I go to a stage and there is a camera taking it. There might be some differences in other respects, like, how you feel when there's a live audience and the feedback you get, regardless of that. But from the input side, what you have to invest in terms of work and time, you say it's the same. So what you're saying is that you should ask for the same price. Is that what you're saying?
In my view, yes. Okay. And I think there's a lot of musicians who, who agree with this. Of course, there's, what you see in this crisis, there's two ways of managing it. I mean, as an artist, when you're deprived of the ability to perform live, then this is your livelihood. So what do you do? So, some people made the decision to just keep playing, playing on and giving free concerts from their living rooms, and other people made the decision to not do that, and I think it's, you have to think not only for the moment, but also for the future, and I had a very lovely conversation some months ago with Katie and Marin Alsop, who, have been the top piano duo for the last 35 years or so. And like Katie has said, when we were starting out, artists could make a living off of their record sales. Nowadays you can't earn enough for a hamburger off of a record sale. This is gone. So the only thing that you have anymore as an artist is that's really allows you to be able to live is your live performances. And when you don't have those either, not only will you as an artist not be able to continue, but what is coming with the next generation of musicians. And if it becomes this way, it's not going to be possible for any musician to be able to dedicate their life full time to their arts. And if you don't, and music is extremely time intensive. It's not something that you can do as a hobby with another profession. I mean, if you want to give the full capacity of your abilities, I mean, it is a full-time job. There is not a pianist out there or a violinist or anybody who has not, given 6 to 8 hours a day of practice. Yeah. And that is a normal job. And
I think
that along that there's every other aspect. Yes. And if you you have to think, how can the arts survive? So it's not a question of how can I survive. It's a question of how are every one of my colleagues and every artist after me, how are we going to be able to survive in the arts, if everything is given for free? And then you come down to the question, what is the value of arts in society?
And but before you get there, if we give it away for free, question is who gives where for free? I mean, we both agree probably that it's not a very wise idea to play music and give it away for free in the internet and media, in Twitter and Facebook, whatever. I think this is not very wise. It's not because I don't think that person should have fun. It's a question of what does it do? And I'll give you another example. At the universities, I mean the Hochschulen für Musik, I very often find, also when talking about why don't we, set up a Weltklassik series to get more opportunities for paid concerts for Weltklassik. People tell me, no, the university offers them for free. Now, there's two problems with that. The one is it is not free. Yeah, it is not free. You and I pay for it with our taxes. Yeah, so there is no such thing as a free lunch. Is probably more an American way of putting it, but it's not free. Yeah, and the second thing is it is just a wrong signal to people. Sort of when I go there, it should be free. Yeah. Or it should be, oh God, what you do, €25 for a concert, that's a lot, I get it at this university concert, I get it for €8. This is just completely ruining the future of musicians. That's what I think. I think that sponsoring and subsidies, they are absolutely detrimental for artists' future.
Yeah. I mean, there's no perfect solution. I mean, it's the support has to come from somewhere. So I mean, but where should it come from?
Okay, that's another good question. I have two ideas there. One is that the countries where Bach, Beethoven, Mozart are hip, they change. It was in Germany, definitely, but maybe now it is in China. Yeah, maybe they can appreciate more what we sort of lost in appreciation.
I think that also comes down to the thing, humanity in general doesn't. It's very often you don't value what you have.
Yeah,
and
that's often.
Classical music has always been a part of the European lifestyle because it came from here, and so it's easy to overlook its value. And if you are from a country where it was earlier forbidden, then you suddenly now have the opportunity to enjoy this unbelievable art. Then it has a different significance for you because of that.
Yeah. Absolutely, I absolutely agree. And therefore, I agree that, or I come to the conclusion that it must be something, valuable and scarce, and definitely something which is free is not valuable. Yeah, and apart from this, Katie, we all know, the world is diverse, and from 100 people, we will never talk to 100 people about classical music. But they are the ones who love you and appreciate your music. They are very dear, very, very dear, and they're probably dearer than other relationships in this world between customer and product. Because what you give to the people is so much more. It's so much more valuable, and it's so much more appreciated. Yeah. That I think there is some hope in this very close contact.
Yeah. No, and I also think, of course it's, most people focus on the negative aspects of what has happened over this time, having to go virtual. And yes, the negativity far overrides the positivity. But I think one thing that is very positive, and it's what I've tried to do with my Dress to Play series, is give people the opportunity to really experience classical music in its fullest form, masterworks of piano repertoire in exquisite halls, wearing beautiful dresses, and nobody that's watching it, nobody that's attending one of these virtual events has to dress up if they don't want to. They can sit at home in complete comfort and yet still be able to experience this whole feeling of classical music. And if they don't like it, fine. They haven't, they haven't had to go out of their way at all to experience it. It was a gift of what is classical music in its most full-fledged form, and it has come to their living room, and it's given them a taste of what is it, and then it allows them afterwards in their mind to think, well, do I want to go now and experience this live, when it's possible? Do I want to go to a beautiful concert hall? Do I want to dress up, and do I want to be part of this art? And if you don't, then it's okay. You don't have to. But I think this was one nice thing about virtual concerts, that you can give people a taste of what classical music is in its snobbiest form, if you want to use this word.
I think this is a very interesting conversation, Katie, and I would like to tell you that out of many people I've met and I've talked to over the last 9 months, what is very exciting about talking to you is that you are the positive thinker. You are looking at new opportunities, and you're not only fantasizing about what we should do, could do, and so on. You are doing it. And I've seen many routes, your films and your online activities and your dress-up idea and website. So this is, I think, a good example for all of us to just, sort of, okay, where's the opportunity? Let's look for it, and let's seize it, and let's just do it. So that's my compliment of the day for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All the best. We're looking forward to the Beethoven project. And yes, and I'll now just say hello to the guest, if you allow.
Okay.
Yes, so vielen Dank, liebe Gäste, dass Sie hier zugehört haben, und vor allen Dingen auch an die Gäste, die diese Interviewreihe unterstützen und dort Produzenten werden. Wie das genau geht, das erkläre ich gleich im Nachspann. Die es schon gemacht haben, bei denen ganz herzlichen Dank. Alles, was angekommen ist an Einnahmen, geht 1:1 an die Pianisten weiter. Und bitte bleiben Sie uns gewogen und treu und produzieren Sie auch die nächsten Interviews mit uns. Vielen Dank und dann bis bald. Tschüss. Bye bye, Katie.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.